Let's look at Pokemon Coliseum, the bonus disc. What, 200 bucks used? Way more than that sealed in box? Let's look at Pokemon Box from Nintendo GameCube. Pokemon Box Ruby and Sapphire that was only available at the Nintendo Store, New York City, and online to order. $2,000 used, what, $5,000 brand new? We don't really know what the price of that is. What I'm saying here is that exclusive variants of Pokemon, especially in low supply, tend to do very, very well over the long term. If DLC is not available for download for Sword and Shield Expansion Pass, these physical copies are the only possible way to get that expansion pass down the line, down the road, which makes this extremely attractive as well for the major long-term potential.
In a world full of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, grading, selling, buying, one card game remains supreme. One man has the insights you need to know. Watch and subscribe now. YugiohTube.
What's up, YouTube? YugiohTube here, discussing not a card investment video, but instead a video game investment video, and it's going to involve these two games right here, Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield Expansion Pack Physical Edition. Now, before we get into this video, I need everyone to know, do your own research, make your own sound decisions. This is just my personal opinion. I am not here to influence anybody. I am just giving my personal voice and opinion on these two sealed video games. Again, this is not financial advice. Make your own sound decisions when looking to invest. Now that that is out of the way. Okay, most of us know, right, that we are into cards, and if you are investing in collectibles and cards, you want to also diversify into other fields, and that might be video games for some people. Now, of course, video games has a lot of potential, right? But it really started to skyrocket during the boom that we saw with the cards. During 2021, really, the video games and sealed video game market went crazy. A lot of folks thought it was inflated, which it might be. A lot of folks thought it is manipulated, which it also could be as well. Nonetheless, there's still a demand for sealed video games. No matter what you say, no matter how you put it, sealed video games always, for the last 20, 30 years, have always been an investment vehicle, if you want to say. Okay, but of course, these collectibles are just assets, and you want to stick to traditional investments, whether it be IRAs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, treasuries, all that other stuff. You want to make sure you have a good foundation with that before you're investing in anything card-related, video game-related, etc. Now, if you are looking in the video game market, a lot of people are dissuading people from buying a Nintendo Switch or any sort of recent modern video games just because there's too many of them. There's too many Nintendo Switch games out. People buying sealed Nintendo Switch games are just looking to hold and invest and engrade them, and the problem is right now there's too much supply on the market. The thinking back then when NES, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, no one was thinking about investing. Now everyone's thinking about investing in sealed video games. Now here's the difference, okay? I don't like Nintendo Switch video games sealed as an investment either. I think by the time these things appreciate in value, your money was better used somewhere else, and you have the opportunity cost of holding onto these things and the sunken money for who knows how many years. But when it comes to these two specific games, there is so much potential, in my opinion, with these two specific games. I think if you're going to invest in a modern video game, you really have to be selective because of just the sheer quantity on the market of these games and the mass production and the speculators looking to invest. These two, dangerously nice, okay? And again, this is just my opinion. I am not a financial advisor. This could bomb and blow up in my face, sure. But, okay, I am very, very optimistic when it comes to these two video games. And let me give you so many reasons why. There are a handful of reasons why these two video games here, in my opinion, are going to have great long-term growth. Okay, first of all, these are the Nintendo Switch Pokemon Shield and Sword plus expansion pack game. As you can see on the bottom half of the games, you have the expansion pass. It includes the expansion pass on the physical cartridge, which is huge. It's absolutely massive. First of all, when analyzing the market and the future long-term potential of a product, how much is out there? When you look at any Switch game, when you look at any normal Nintendo Switch game, you're talking millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of copies produced. When you're talking these, we don't have exact numbers. I can't tell you the exact numbers of this game. What I can tell you is this, is that there are very, very, very likely a lot less of these produced than there were of the regular Sword and Shield games, okay? And in general, I feel like both of these games have such a low print run compared to any Nintendo Switch games ever produced on the market. Okay, remember, Nintendo, let's give some background story on these expansion packs. For those who don't play Pokemon, who don't know Pokemon, let's at least give you some background information on this stuff. Okay, Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield came out for Nintendo Switch. Back in October of 2020, I think it was October 22nd of 2020, Pokemon said, we are announcing a new DLC, which basically adds so much more to these games. It's like a new world, or whatever it might be. I played both of these games, the standard version. I never played with the expansion pass, so I can't say personally much about it. I can say this, a lot of folks thought it was fantastic. So Pokemon said, okay, years after the original release, we're going to add an expansion onto this, where you get to collect more Pokemon and get more things, right? It's almost like another world you're going through. Now, they released that for $29.99 via DLC on October 22nd of 2020, and they said, hey, if you want the physical copy of these things, you could buy it on November 6th of 2020. So really about 2 to 3 weeks later, you had the option of buying the physical version with the expansion pass on it. Instead of $60 retail price, as you know, Switch games are $60 retail, MSRP, it is $89.99 or $90 retail price. So basically, you didn't get a deal by buying the physical version. The only thing you got was a $30 added charge to the game. Okay, the card itself looks different. The case itself looks different. So this is an exclusive SKU, or UPC. It's an exclusive product different from the original game. As you can see, the case is different, the cart looks different, and it says expansion pass as well. So Nintendo said, okay, we're not giving anyone a deal, but if you want the physical version, pay $30 more for the game with the physical version. If you have a standard version already, but you want to add on DLC to the standard version, add $30 more, which makes sense, correct? Now, obviously, most gamers are looking at this and saying, I do not want to wait another 2 to 3 weeks to add the expansion pack, okay? I want to get it now on October 22nd. Most gamers are very impulsive, myself included. Gamers do not want to wait just for a physical version. They said, you know what? I'm going to download this at midnight. I'm going to go play the DLC or the expansion pass, whatever it entails. I'm going to go download it at midnight. I don't want to wait. I don't care about waiting for an expansion pass physical version. So, knowing that, Nintendo very likely, I'm inferring here and hypothesizing here, Nintendo very likely said, look, these sales are not going to be too great on these games. Most of the population, especially the younger generation, they don't care about physical stuff. They just want the DLC, okay? And impulsive gamers want to play it. They don't want to wait 3 weeks to play. That's why you have lines outside of GameStop at midnight. They want to play it right away. So we're not going to make too many of these. That is my hypothesis, is that Nintendo said, look, these are going to be for the niche market, collectible, kind of physical, game people, physical cart people. But the majority of people playing the expansion pass are going to download it. Most of the people are not going to have the physical version. And I think Nintendo knew that, and I think they limited the amount of these produced. That is a major draw and a major good sign if you're looking to invest in this long term, because there are just not many of these in existence, right? In my opinion, especially compared to the rest of the print run. That is a major, major good thing. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 says, with Pokemon, okay? When you look at anything exclusive like this is exclusive, this is niche, this is weird, okay? Anything weird, niche Pokemon appears to do very well long term. There's never been a weird niche Pokemon game that has really plummeted in value. Let's look at the Sword and Shield double packs and the Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire double packs. The Sun and Moon double packs, weird. The Steelbook editions, weird. But they appreciate in value over time. So looking at the historic value of this, another weird, probably low print run with this variant special edition stuff. Let's look at Pokemon Coliseum, the bonus disc. What, $200 used? Way more than that sealed in box. Let's look at Pokemon Box from Nintendo GameCube. Pokemon Box Ruby and Sapphire, that was only available at the Nintendo Store in New York City and online to order. $2,000 used. What, $5,000 brand new? We don't really know what the price of that is. What I'm saying here is that exclusive variants of Pokemon, especially in low supply, tend to do very, very well over the long term. And that's very important to consider when looking at these two. These are very niche, limited kind of variants here that weren't probably produced in high numbers. And I think that this is a great long-term potential hold. And for that reason, number two reason, I think that could be a great investment. Now, number three, okay, one of the most important parts here as well to consider, they both contain the expansion pack on the physical cart. Okay, so what I love about it is I could play Pokemon Sword and Shield, finish the game, and I say, darn it, I don't have the expansion pass. One of my friends could literally lend me the expansion pass game, and I have access to the expansion pass. No downloads needed. First of all, a lot of people, they might not even like downloading stuff. People like having the physical cart in their hands. Conversely to what I was talking about earlier, there are people that enjoy the physical copy aspect of games. In addition to that, some people just aren't tech savvy and like to download stuff. This would be their only way to get the expansion pass if they like the physical versions, right? This is the only way. The game has the expansion pass preloaded on it. So long term, let's look at this and say Nintendo 10 years, 5 years down the line says we're not providing the DLC for Sword and Shield anymore for the expansion pass. If that happens, which you would say 20, imagine what this would be 20 years down the line when DLC could not be readily available for these. This would be your only way to get the expansion pass for Sword and Shield if the DLC is no longer available. And as we know, DLC doesn't last forever. They shut down servers, they shut down this, they shut down that. If DLC is not available for download for Sword and Shield expansion pass, these physical copies are the only possible way to get that expansion pass down the line, down the road, which makes this extremely attractive as well for the major long-term potential. So, just to summarize and recap here, anything Pokemon, anything variant, seems to do very well historically, which is a good sign for this. Supply, most likely a very low supply of these niche market, which means, though, that with low supply, fear of missing out is there. The Violet and Scarlet are coming out, which means this is also out of stores. All major retailers do not have these in stores anymore. GameStop last week blew these out. The pre-owned versions blew them out of stock. Just price slashed the pre-owned versions and blew them out of stock. You look at Target, you look at Walmart, you look at Amazon, you look at GameStop and Best Buy. None of them have this in stock anymore, as folks are now shifting to Scarlet and Violet version. And again, as people realize, hey, this is my only chance at an expansion pack physical version, they very likely are going to have that fear of missing out, if not already. We're already starting to see prices creep up on Shield, hitting about 100 on the resale market, and Sword up to about 130 to 150 on the resale market. Sword has always been a little more expensive than Shield, both on the regular standard editions and the expansion pass editions. So, very likely you're going to see bigger growth with the Sword version than the Shield version. But overall, both of these games are extreme long-term plays that I think have a major growth potential. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line. These things, in my opinion, are great long-term holds in a market that really you have to be selective about, the modern sealed video game market. These are, in my opinion, as good as you can get in that alternative market. What do you think? Have you ever even heard of such a thing as these? Most people didn't even know that this thing existed, which is crazy. Okay, that's how low print run and low advertised they were. Okay, so what do you guys think? Would you buy this? Would you sell this? Do you think I'm crazy for buying any sort of modern video games? let me know. I just use history, and I use my own analysis to make these decisions. But again, make your own decisions. Do your research, and until next time, make your own, again, investment choices. I'm just rambling at this point. YugiohTube, signing out.